In this video, we're going to review making a summary table that shows counts and percentages for a categorical variable. So in my data over here, I have data on over 300 different mutual funds. For each fund, there's several variables. The fund number, the market cap, which indicates the size of the mutual fund, the risk level, 5-year return, and star rating. For this table, for just the large cap funds, I want to see the risk levels, a count of each, and a percentage. So what percentage are high risk, what percentage are low risk, what percentage are average risk. So I look at this risk column here, and I can see that all of the funds are classified as either average, high, or low. So I'm going to type those in here: low, average, high, and make this into a table. Now what I want to do is count how many of the large cap funds in that list have a low risk level. Now the problem is this data has large cap, small cap, and mid cap funds. So I only want to count the ones that are large cap and low risk for this first category. For the second, I want to count the ones that are large cap and average risk, and so on. So I have two criteria, not just one. The COUNTIF function can be used for counting data values that match one criterion. If you have more than one criteria, you can use the COUNTIFS function, COUNTIFS. So the way I remember this is you're counting ifs. So there's more than one if. If it's a large cap, and if it's a low risk level, then we'll count it. The way the COUNTIFS function works is you have to give it two ranges of data. Both ranges have to be the same size. And then you say count it if the first range of data meets a certain criteria and the second range of data meets a certain criteria. So it looks at pairs of values. So for example, we have here a pair of values: large cap, average risk. So my COUNTIFS function would say count it if this one is large and this one is low for this first cell. So this row would not be counted. This one would, because both criteria are met. So how do we do that? Equals COUNTIFS, and the S at the end just means you can have multiple criteria. So in this formula you can give it multiple ranges and put a range on each criterion. So the first range I'm going to select is the range that has the market cap. So you start at the top and go down until you have it all selected. Okay. Now scroll back up to my formula. Now I put a comma. What's my range? My criteria is going to be, if I click on this cell here, or no, I want it to be just the large caps. So I can, in double quotes, type in large. Then my next criteria is going to be the risk level. So I put a comma. Risk levels in this column. So another way to select a column if you don't want to drag is click on the first one and then use Control-Shift down arrow. That selects the column. Now I drag back up. On this column, the criterion is just going to be equals whatever is in the risk level cell right here. So I type on that cell, click on that cell to get that reference in. Now I do the right-hand side of the parentheses, and I'm done with my formula. Not quite done though, because one more thing I want to do is make these absolute references by putting in the dollar signs. If you're on a Windows computer, all you do is click on the reference and hit F4. So the references to the ranges are absolute references, but the reference to the second criterion, which is the risk level, is just a reference to the cell that has the risk level in it. So I hit enter, and I've got my count. copy it down, and I'm done. 135 have low risk, 14 have average risk, and 4 have high risk. So again, to take a look at that formula, it's just COUNTIFS, range, criteria, range, criteria. And you can have more than 2 if you want. You can have multiple ranges and criteria. The only trick is you have to make sure the ranges are the same shape, because what it's doing is looking at pairs. Okay, now I can translate into a percentage by dividing by the total. So I'm going to take each number and divide it by the sum of all of these. And again, I want to make this an absolute reference by hitting F4, put the dollar signs in, and format that as a percentage. And now I can drag it down, and I'm done with my summary table. Let's take a look at that formula again. Just each number divided by the sum of all the numbers gives you the percentage.